now. It's run by NATO. It's run by the UN, created by the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, on record. Go look up the founding. If you're a new listener, I'm not just saying this. These aren't my opinions. To have governments sign treaties and waive their rights to corporations that put up the money, Bill Gates, Ted Turner, that's modern examples, Warren Buffett to the UN and others. Not because they're big sweethearts, but because they want to be exempt from taxes, offshore, above the law, with diplomatic immunity. Now, that aside, the Middle East 100 years ago was secular, semi-secular, about as secular as you'd see at the same time in London or New York City, in many countries, in many cities, in many areas. There was only guys that made women wear hoods over their heads and ran around saying, you know, all the stuff you see in Team America in certain areas of Saudi Arabia and North Africa. Pretty much anywhere it was kind of hillbilly, outback, that's the way things are anyways. You're not kind of ruthless and tough, you get overrun anyways. So that's where that came from. British intelligence came in. It's all on record. Movie Lawrence of Arabia is about one small part of it. Historical film. Recommend you see it. Just watched it 2 weeks ago with my parents. It's coming to the Paramount soon in Austin. I think I'm going to go see it there. But the point is, it's epic film. It's also totally true. But it's a whitewash at the same time. You know, like what they tell is true, but then they don't tell you a lot of it. It's kind of lying by omission. The point is they went and they said, oh, we got a couple 100,000 really ruthless, hard-fighting people out in the middle of the desert in Saudi Arabia who travel all over the Middle East doing trade and who nobody messes with, kind of the gunslingers. We're going to hire a couple 100,000 Arab gunslingers who happen to be radical Islam Wahhabist to take over and run the Middle East and to take over where the Ottoman Empire out of Turkey was and collapsed. Now, I had to give you that basis of just a basic gestalt snapshot of things to understand what comes in next. Hitler runs the British out in 1940 with invasions of the Middle East. I know. In 1943, my grandpa had to go over there and be in North Africa and fly B-17s, you know, and fight the Nazis and get shot up in North Africa and then go to Italy after they invaded. So that's all part of the history there. Okay, so Hitler comes into North Africa, comes to the Middle East, takes over, gets control of the Muslim Brotherhood. That was the group that came out of the British intel setup. It pre-existed that before. They're the Al-Qaeda granddaddies, okay? Now, those guys are then hired again in 1979 to throw out the Shah, who wanted to build reactors and industrialize Iran. Oh, no, yeah. That was a staged coup with the West to kick the Shah out. It wasn't that Ayatollah Khomeini flew in and all that happened. It's now been declassified. Congressional hearings in Iran-Contra in 86 it came out. That was only 7 years after then, that our government, under Zbigniew Brzezinski and others, then Reagan got in, and with Bush Sr., they double-crossed him back. They put the Iranians in. Let's just get that straight. Because the Shah wanted to have power plants and build it up, make it first world nation. They said, how about you just get cancer? We remove you, you get cancer and die a week later. Okay, so that's what happened there. So now you're getting kind of the background, just some basic gestalts. There was another guy who the West had just put in, a former CIA captain. He'd been a captain in the army in Iraq, and they made him a sergeant and a captain. They made him a CIA officer. That's declassified. His name's Saddam Hussein. They gave him $40 billion to attack Iran under orders for a 7-year war. So it's the name of the game is break them all down, ruin them. Doesn't matter if the Shah's trained in the West, pro-America, wants porno movies playing, okay? You know, HBO, the whole 9 yards. No, we don't want the Arabs being like New York. We want them dead. That's the globalist, okay? So how do you put in a psych warfare operation? You put in radical Islam again. In that case, you put Shiites in, radical Shiites. Now, in the case of the Wahhabists, that's 80% or Shia, and the minority group that controls it is the Wahhabist. You put them in control worldwide, and you have them run around destabilizing all over the planet. It doesn't mean you even control them. You just give them weapons and everything and let them do what they want, kind of like the Iranian Shiites. Okay, so it's not that I'm saying they give them orders every day. They just open the door and let them do whatever they want, and then later also come after them and then use the threat of them to take our rights. So there was a problem. There was a group that's about 80 years old, look them up, called Ba'athist, Arab socialists, but they're not even really socialist. It's a centralized government that wants prosperity, that allows free market, and it's a socialism that actually works. I don't like socialism, but it's an authoritarian socialism that for the Arabs has been the best system they ever had. It gets set up in Egypt, it gets set up in Syria, it gets set up in Iraq. That's what Saddam was meant to take out, okay? Because they didn't want women going to college and women not getting their genitals cut off and all the rest of the CIA didn't. Just like Hitler, didn't, and just like the British didn't. You want to keep them as your army. So the Ba'athists create all this prosperity and industrialize and build dams and stuff the globalists don't like. So they send in Shiite or Sunni Wahhabist jihadis to blow them up and kill them in every case. And that's all that happened 4 years ago. It's public. It's in BBC, AP, Reuters. Google met with the CIA and MI6 and the European NATO intelligence for 3 months at the hotel, the Grove there in Watford, England, and publicly bragged that they had al-Qaeda and everybody come meet, and the Muslim Brotherhood said, we're going to give the whole Middle East to you and you can kill everybody, especially the Christians. Make sure and take them out. We don't like Christians because they don't fit into our plan. The globalists always want to kill Christians. So they went into Libya, they went into Syria, and they went into Egypt and had the West, who put Hosni Mubarak in 31 years ago. They had him removed and drugged up and put, in a hospital, and then no one ever knows where he's at. And they put the Muslim Brotherhood in to then go burn down every church and murder everybody and start throwing people off rooftops and killing everybody. And that's where we are now. And the Egyptian military got tired of it after 3 years. A year of turmoil, 2 years of Morrissey, and took him out. And so the Muslim Brotherhood, given weapons and stuff by NATO and the U.S. government and Obama, and you see CNN promoting him, calling them protesters as they shoot people and firebomb and burn down churches. The Egyptian military said we're going to support all minority groups, Christians, Jews, Alawite Muslims, Shiite, Sunni. We're not going to have this here. And so you've got NATO in the West trying to bring down Egypt right now to put al-Qaeda-Light in charge over there. And that's the plan. And you got 10,000 heat-seeking missiles at Benghazi. We told you this a year and a half ago. It's now, or it happened. I was thinking of the fake bin Laden thing. That was 2 years ago. We told you that 10 months ago, right after it happened last year. The Benghazi was a missile deal. That's now declassified. That's now public. They gave al-Qaeda 10,000 heat-seeking missiles, and as soon as Obama puts out terror alerts, al-Qaeda comes out and agrees and says, yes, we're going to blow you up in total choreographed baloney, and it's all staged, and the globalists are funding radical Islam to take over Europe and take over the whole world. They've already taken over the Middle East and killed any moderates to be kind of their army that anybody that gets in their way will be taken out. So the big banks that run the world run al-Qaeda and help put the Shiites in power as long as they're radical, and that's the program, and that's what's happening, and that's why CNN and everybody else is promoting the Egyptian al-Qaeda group, because they support them.
Cal Ben Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars.